It is very, very unusual for a company to announce that it will be earning less money than it expected to, and be rewarded for that announcement with a 7% bump in stock prices. Probably not unique, but unusual, no doubt about it. Yet that is exactly what has happened with Warner Brothers, which seems even weirder when you take into consideration they recently seppuku'd pretty much the entirety of their gaming division. Huh. How could this have come about then? Well, they did announce that they were expecting to have a 5% revenue fall in their network divisions, and yet this resulted in a 7% increase in the stock values of Warner Brothers. Now, part of this is obviously going to be thanks to a very ambitious plan to release 7 pieces of entertainment, be it movies or TV series, every year from now on. That might even be over-ambitious considering the quality of recent DC entertainment, but that's definitely an element of it. Though I think an even larger one is the fact that stockholders realized that Monolith Studios hadn't done anything for damn near a decade. They had achieved nothing. They had produced nothing. They had not earned a single gosh darn thing, and the final cutting of this enormous albatross sat heavy around Warner Brothers' neck. Just the killing of it would be a major improvement to the company's overall value and capacity to deliver something worthwhile to stockholders, which, of course, this has had a little bit of a reaction in the gaming press, which is usually sad and lambasted. Sometimes you've nobody to blame but yourselves. Well, yes, they've got nobody to blame but themselves for the 7% increase in their stock value. As whilst the Care Foundation respect is, oh boy, all of these poor people were laid off. Think of all the centuries of experience they have together with one another. Isn't this horrible? What a waste. Well, here's the thing. Despite all of their centuries of experience as a grand unit, they didn't manage to make anything. And the Wonder Woman game, we're now beginning to hear a few rumors about it, was apparently rebooted twice, with a potential third reboot on the way just before Warner Brothers pulled the plug. That's just an infinite money black hole, and seeing as from what we've heard so far, the story was going to be a powerful and current year relevant story, it was probably going to be an enormous flop. In fact, it was probably likely to be such an enormous failure that even if the game was in a stage ready to be released tomorrow, it would be better for WB to push it into the largest, deepest black hole they could, rather than release it due to the PR damage it would do to the company, as they. Wonder Woman is one of those characters that should honestly be really easy to make a good character out of today. It's kind of the same argument I had with Starfire, right? You have here a character who's hot as ever living hell, a literal goddess. This, by the way, is the porn parody, because porn is better at making superhero costumes than the actual owners of the IPs, which is a whole thing. Who's one of her key story elements is having a love interest, which is Trevor Steve, something like that, and being a reverse Superman, rescuing him and bringing him out of danger when he goes on insane, crazy adventures in World War II and so on. That should be really easy to sell to young men. Hey, want a superpower waifu who'll go on you on adventures to defeat evil super secret organizations? Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good plan, honestly. But they were obviously going to make this into a completely separate sort of story, where you'd be on Themyscira fighting against supervillains, and apparently the Nemesis system was going to be reversed, so you wouldn't be building up Nemesis points with, other people on the opposing side, or building up rivalries with famous Wonder Woman villains like Giantess and that cheetah woman whose name escapes me right now. But instead, you'd be building up allies. Somehow, Wonder Woman would require allies on Themyscira. She's only been their princess for, eternity, so she'd need to prove herself, no doubt. Which sounds fun and engaging. Hey, you're Wonder Woman, you gotta prove yourself to the Amazons. of all people. Yeah, recipe for success right there. And you can see this throughout Wonder Woman's history, right? This came from a cancelled 2011 television series. And again, you've got the actual porn parody on the side. It's like, wow, I wonder which one I would like to watch here. Although this doesn't even look that bad. It's a pinch cheap, but I mean, hell, it's honestly probably better than the one we eventually got, frankly. But the difficulty is you're going to have a studio like Monolith Production, who are using all political writers in an effort to transform Wonder Woman into a modern-day feminist icon, where she really shouldn't need to be. She already, in essence, is. She is a strong female superhero. In fact, more and more in DC canon, she's being presented as the strongest of them all, even stronger than Superman. She's already empowered. You don't need to add more to that. If anything, you need to finally add in an element of vulnerability, actually, as this is, well, the very thing that the feminist movement argued about, that the men had become too entrenched in their power structures. Patriarchy was everywhere. Well, this is the matriarchy. This is the matriarchy's strongest warrior. If anything, you would wish to deconstruct that power structure, or even take the idea of Themyscira as an all-female matriarchy with an absolute ruler appointed by God, or the gods in this case, and wonder, how would that jive with our world? Well, obviously, she'd be an enormous misandrist, which would be hilarious. Secondly, she would come from a very different political ideology as well, arriving at democracy going, you vote for your leaders? What, God doesn't decide for you? You have a religion? Well, what about that? It's like, well, you know, we haven't actually talked to God? What do you mean you haven't talked to God? I have gods. Yeah, but they're fantasies. No. Let me demonstrate. There you go, Zeus. Literally. Which would also introduce a whole lot of questions. Okay, shit, Zeus is real. How do we square this circle? Not to mention her views on democracy as a whole, particularly if you put this in a World War II setting. See, the first Wonder Woman movie actually had a rather brilliant twist, where she goes into World War I, and Steve, of course, is like, you know, the Germans, they started this war, and she's like, it's gotta be Ares. Ares the one behind this. So long as I just find Ares on the German side and beat him up, and the Germans will stop fighting. Then she beats up the guy she thinks is Ares, nobody stops fighting, and turns out, no, Ares didn't do shit. Ares didn't make everybody fight. Ares simply infiltrated areas of power and nudged and pushed, and he was actually on the British side. That was actually rather good. I liked that. The overall movie was meh at best, but it was a neat twist. And you could do a lot of philosophizing like that with Wonder Woman. Not to mention bringing in the Greek mythological angle as well could be really interesting. And super-powered goddess waifu. I mean, come on. How could you not sell this? But I guarantee you they were trying to make it into a scree against patriarchy, somehow. A modern-day commentary on politics. They're probably going to be, I don't know, invading forces of the US, which would be... they'd probably be the ones who are bringing in the supervillains. Oh, you know what? I think I know exactly what would happen. Themyscira was all peaceful, placid, perfect, a matriarchy, and then America arrived with a nefarious plot to infiltrate and destroy the island's beautiful matriarchy with various supervillains they had recruited for the task. Unlike when they got the mafia to help them invade Sicily. Except, you know, Sicily was a little bit less paradise-esque at the time. Ugh. And finally, I think the wider markets and even the investors themselves are beginning to kind of realize this. Like, okay, we're not really earning money, our IPs are languishing, we have all of these amazing characters, but we're not utilizing them. And here's a company that hasn't done shit for a decade. What is the best thing Warner Brothers can do at this point? Well, it's cutting the costs. That's it. Warner Brothers announcing that they're going to be dragging Monolith out behind the shed, cocking the shotgun and putting both barrels into it. That's exactly what the investors want to hear. That's probably God only knows how many tens of millions of dollars saved a year for a project that never manifested. And now if they're smart, they might give it to another company, or better yet, begin licensing out the Nemesis system, god damn it. You're sitting on it, you have the patent on it, you're not using it for anything. Start licensing it. It's a brilliant idea. The ability to build like long-lasting antagonistic relationship and, twist people to your wills and ways in a video game is a fantastic one. You aren't making a dime of it right now. Lease it out. Seriously. Give it to other companies. Hey, you want to do this amazing thing? Okay, we're going to take like a percentage of your sales and we'll take like an upright fee or something. At least get something out of it instead of simply hoarding it away in a vault until 2036 or something? But that would require a little bit of intelligence, and this is still Warner Brothers we're talking about here, and you can never quite know what's running through their heads. Anyways, Wonder Woman, come on. This should be pretty easy, even for you. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.